What is up guys, Tim Murray here. Today we're going to be looking at my newest guitar from Solar Guitars, the A1.8C 8-string model. Before this video starts, there will be some sound demos later on, and I've also got some full tracks with this guitar already uploaded on my channel, so be sure to check those out. I'll go over the specs now, but for you impatient guys out there, here's your audio demo timestamp here. For those of you that don't know about Solar Guitars, this company is owned by popular metal musician and YouTuber Ola England. From their website, it says that their intention was to design an absolutely killer line of guitars for the modern metal guitar player, no matter if you are a beginner or a professional. Even after only having this guitar for a short while, I can definitely say that they've achieved their goal. How so? Let's take a closer look. So the specs of this guitar are as follows: older body, maple neck with a relatively thin neck profile, ebony fretboard with lumen lay side dots, and the Solar logo around the 12th fret. 24 stainless steel super jumbo frets. Set neck construction with fantastic upper fret access. 27-inch scale length. Black carbon matte finish on the body, headstock and the neck. Duncan Solar pickups, which are coil splittable via a Strat style 5-way selector switch. One volume knob and one tone knob. Solar locking tuners, and an Evertune bridge system, which I will definitely be discussing shortly, as this was a massive selling point for me. So some of you will know that I also own an Ibanez RG8, which I believe I had since like 2013, 2014. Like a lot of teenagers into metal around that time, I bought an 8-string because of my sugar. They're really fun instruments to play, and when it comes to songwriting, I find myself using different approaches to creating riffs. However, I was recently looking at upgrading my 8-string and selling my RG8, because there are a few things that I'm not a huge fan of with the RG8. Especially with time factored in. Firstly, the Ibanez 8-string is also a 27-inch scale, however I found it can have a few tuning stability issues, and because of this also found it difficult to find the perfect tension without having to put thicker strings on it. The lack of locking tuners also doesn't help here. And secondly, I've noticed a tiny bit of rust on one of the upper frets, which none of my other guitars have. Should be able to sort that out the next time I clean it and change the strings, but it was definitely alarming to see that rusting. Aside from that, the guitar isn't bad. Neck profile is great, however it is a bolt-on neck, and the pickups aren't bad, but they do lack the ability to coil tap them, which is something I like about my Schecter 7-string and Warmoth Telecaster. Now that I've done grilling my old 8-string, anyone in New Zealand looking at buying a cheap 8-string guitar? I know a guy. I ended up going with the Solar Guitars A1.8C as I'm personally a big fan of the stuff that Ola England does. I've actually got a signed deluxe copy of Rejects by one of his bands, Feared. It had a solution to all of the aforementioned issues, and it was one of the cheaper options out of the 5 8-strings that I had narrowed down to. Those 5 guitars were a Strandberg Bowden Metal 8, either an Ibanez M80M or an FTM33, a Jericho Fusion 8, and the Solar. Now, to give you a wee break from the potentially irritating New Zealand accent, here's a few sound clips by itself. You'll hear it in a full mix via the card up here. Like the distorted tone that you heard in that video? Find out my exact settings in my tutorial video via the card up here. So shipping wise, I gotta admit I was a bit nervous with this one. With no bag or case available for it when you buy direct, I was a little worried I would receive 2 halves of a guitar after it made the trek from Europe to New Zealand. However, this guitar was packaged amazingly, and I can happily say there are no damages whatsoever. If I can get a guitar from them and have it shipped to literally the other side of the world without a case, you'll be fine, don't worry. Now this guitar was stuck in the New Zealand postage system for about 15 days, so it spent 3/4 of its entire world journey in my own country. Thanks New Zealand postage. This means it would have been sitting inside an uninsulated distribution warehouse for a while, and with the weather being kinda shit here recently, I was expecting to have to give this a setup right out of the box. But no, not only did it have perfect action for my personal preference, the frickin' guitar arrived in tune out of the box. It's in tune out of the box, what the fuck? This amused me somewhat, and it goes to show just how nuts these Evertune bridges are. So, how does it feel to play? Once again, only positives to say here. The neck profile is relatively thin, therefore it's easy to access the 8th string, and the neck join design makes it really easy to play in the upper register as well. That being said, I can only comfortably fret up to the 22nd fret on the 7th string and like the 20th, 21st fret on the 8th string due to the cutout size. This doesn't matter at all to me, as the only time I'd ever use those frets is if I was tapping something, but something to note. Just play 5 frets lower on the next string and you're fine. The controls are simple and in logical positions, so I won't bump anything while playing. And while the Evertune system is big, it is in no way intrusive, so it just feels like any other bridge really. I won't go into the inner workings of the Evertune bridge in this video, as there are plenty of in-depth videos about it online already. Just note that the tuners actually adjust the tension of the strings now, and you tune the guitar at the bridge with an Evertune key. On to build quality, I don't really have anything to fault here. This guitar of course feels amazing to play, but it also is well balanced, with no rough fret ends, and the paint is consistent around the whole guitar. I was a bit worried with it having a painted neck, as I like faster playing necks, but being a satin finish this is absolutely fine. Something I can't say about my Schecter 7 string with a gloss neck. After searching really hard to find a fault with this so this review didn't seem like me just blowing smoke up Solar's ass, I really didn't find anything. Like, it's freaking great. Now let's jump over to the electronics. The pickups sound pretty good, and they can give you a lot of diverse tones through coil splitting via the 5-way selector switch here. One thing I reckon would have improved the controls on this, however, would be to instead use a 3-way selector and then 2 push-pull potentiometers for coil splitting. This would then mean you could have a few more options when it came to using both pickups at the same time. Maybe that's just overcomplicating it, and it's not an issue at all, it's more so just a personal preference. Potentiometers are relatively cheap, so this could be a mod that could be done later on if you so desired. I have noted that the pickups emit a wee bit of noise on the higher gain tones, like only the smallest amount, but this is in no way as noticeable as on my Jazzmaster, which is greatly affected by this. This could also be due to signal interference, so once again, no biggie. Naturally, this guitar will be noisier in the single coil modes, hence the Jazzmaster's issue. If you want to know how I fixed the noise issue with my Jazzmaster, card up here. It's worth it. Here's what the A1.8C pickups sound like in each setting, through a high gain tone first, and then a clean tone afterward. So in conclusion, this guitar is amazing, and I have no regrets in purchasing it. The lack of case or a gig bag when ordering direct is a little bit worrying, but their packaging definitely makes up for this. And while there is a couple of things electronically that I would change to make this guitar perfect for me, this is in no way a con, merely a personal preference. So would I buy from Solar Guitars again? Absolutely. I've been really interested by their new S-series bolt-on guitars, and if they did a 27-inch scale or more 7-string, especially as an E-type, it would be very hard for me to resist. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions about anything at all, even if it's not about this guitar, feel free to ask me in the comment section below. I'll reply when I can, so thanks for watching and have a wonderful day. Timmy out.